Hello and welcome to Tête-à-Tête, France 24's flagship interview show. Our guest this week is Kim Aris. He is the son of Myanmar leader and Nobel Peace Prize laureate Aung San Suu Kyi, and he joins us from London. Thank you very much for being with us.
Hi, Mark. How do you do?
Thank you. Your mother has been in jail since the military overthrew her government back in 2021. She's currently serving a 27-year sentence on charges of incitement, corruption, and election fraud. First question, do you know where she's being held? Is she in jail or under house arrest like on previous occasions?
As far as I am aware, she has been in jail all this time, and the military continued to spread false rumors and propaganda that she has been under house arrest. But from what I understand, that is not the case. We think that she was in prison in Naypyidaw up until the earthquake, at which point I think the prison was quite badly damaged, and it is likely that she was injured at that point also. And the prison was so badly damaged that we believe that she was moved to a location nearby.
You just mentioned in passing her health. She recently turned 80. In early September, you publicly warned that your mother was seriously ill with heart diseases and she needed to see a cardiologist. 2 months later, do you have an update on her health and whether her heart problems are being tended to?
Well, it's very hard to ascertain what's actually happening since nobody outside of the military or the prison have actually seen her in over 2 years now. But from what I understand, her health is deteriorating. Her heart condition is getting worse. She has problems with gum disease and osteoporosis, as well as other ailments. And obviously, she's 80 years old, and the conditions in the prisons in Burma are appalling. So I can only hope that she will survive. All I want is for her to be moved to house arrest and to be getting the care that she needs.
The military spokesperson answered after you spoke and said that she was actually healthy. It's unusual for them to react. What do you make of this reaction? First of all, obviously, they're saying she's healthy, so it means that they're paying attention to her, or do you think it's something else?
I think the fact that they've reacted means that there's something behind this, because they have never reacted to anything else that I have said over the last 5 years. And the fact that the military often spread false propaganda and mislead the entire international community, as well as brainwashing their own people. These are tried and true tactics that they have had success with for decades now, and yet people still fall for them all the time. So I don't listen to what they say, generally speaking.
Do you have any contact with her? When was the last time you had some news from her, and how?
The last time I had any actual communication from her was over 2 years ago. I received one letter. This is the only communication I've had from her since the coup. I have been sending care packages and letters via the British Foreign Office, but that is the only response I've had. So it is hard to know whether or not these care packages and letters are getting through.
In a letter addressed to your mother in early October, the French President Emmanuel Macron wrote that he's deeply worried about her deteriorating health and is calling for her release. This is a rare sign of the Western world speaking on her behalf. Obviously, there's the war in Ukraine, Gaza, and the Western leaders have been rather silent regarding her and her country.
Indeed, that is the case, and I commend President Macron for speaking out so clearly at this time, especially with the elections approaching. It is all the more important that world leaders stand up and do not legitimize what is essentially a terrorist organization.
So what do you make of, let's say you're speaking from London, of the British government attitude on this issue?
I'm afraid the British government have not done enough. They are working behind the scenes to try and help in terms of humanitarian aid. And unfortunately, they do not have a working relationship with the junta, which means that very little can actually be done meaningfully.
I also have to ask you the same question about the Trump administration. It has been rather proactive on many foreign issues. Have you reached out to them? Do you know if they are indeed looking at the situation and maybe working behind the scenes, or not at all?
I have reached out to them, and I was in the States earlier this year and engaged with various officials. And I realized that everybody there wants to help, but given that the situation they find themselves in their own country is a little unstable, shall we say, I find it hard to see how they can help right now.
Right. You mentioned elections. They're scheduled to take place on December 28. The international community is saying it will be a sham. The conditions are not ripe, both in terms of transparency, but also because of the security situation. Do you think that the military might want to, as a gesture of goodwill, maybe do a gesture with your mother, possibly free her or send her to house arrest, maybe to deflect the criticism over their behavior and their human rights records and so on?
It's quite likely that this is one of the uses that they will find for my mother. They may free her before the elections to help appease the population, or they may free her afterwards. But that was the case in the past, that they freed her after the elections. And either way, I hope that she is returned to her home in Rangoon and gets to receive the care that she so desperately needs.
Kim, I mean, obviously the situation in the country is very complicated. Since the coup, there is essentially what can only be described as a civil war. You have the junta on one hand, and on the other side, an alliance between the pro-democracy national unity government and several ethnic armed groups, as they're called. How do you judge the situation right now in your country when it comes to this civil war?
Right now, the situation is desperate for everybody. The bloodshed is horrible. The military are bombing schools, hospitals, churches indiscriminately. Peaceful religious gatherings get bombed. And ultimately, the military have lost ground over the last 5 years, a lot of ground, and they are in a weaker position than they ever have been. And yet, the rest of the world does not take notice, and they think that the resistance forces are not united. But the resistance forces are united in more ways than anybody outside of the country can see. And they are doing an amazing job without any help from the outside world. So, with a little bit of help from the outside world, all this needless suffering could have ended a long time ago. But if people started helping now, we can bring an end to the suffering sooner rather than later.
What has changed, though? I mean, 2 years ago, there was an offensive by this alliance against the government. They gained a lot of ground until August of last year. Since then, it seems the junta has been able to retake the initiative and some territory. And many observers believe that one reason for that is China. That China, which was maybe neutral or maybe even supporting the opposition, is now clearly behind the junta. Do you think that this could be a decisive change and that would favor the junta and allow them to survive for a while now?
Well, without the support of China and Russia and India and others, the military would have been finished a long time ago. So I think China's involvement is hard to ascertain exactly what they're doing. After all, they have supported the opposition forces at times as well. And ultimately, the Chinese are pragmatists and they want to see a stable environment for their economic interests to flourish. And I hope that they will see that the military are not going to be able to provide them with that. It is clear that they're incapable of governing the country in any way. So, whilst the Chinese may appear to be working with them right now, I know that my mother was building a relationship with China, which is far more meaningful than any relationship that the military has with them.
You've been separated from your mother a number of time. Everyone remembers you, your brother, your father receiving the Nobel Peace Prize on her behalf, you being reunited at the airport several years ago. Are you hoping to be able to see her soon in the near future?
Absolutely. I do hope always. And whilst it's hard to see that that hope is founded on anything realistic, I truly believe that Burma will return to democracy and the bright future that was promised to the young people of Burma will return and they will be able to take up their position in a beautiful country, which Burma is amazing. And it's such a important country in terms of its geopolitical position and could provide so much benefits to the world if it was allowed to flourish as it was under my mother's rule. Let us hope that freedom and peace and harmony will return to Burma soon and that the rest of the world will help.
Kim Aris, I want to thank you very much for being our guest here on France 24. And thank you all for watching this show.